Why do I do that every time? Like I'm going to jump out of my seat. Today, we're talking about the failed 401k experiment. And why are we talking about that? Because, we're Gen Xers.
We're flunkies over here when it comes to that.
We are part of the failure. But no, the 401k experiment was basically the government said, and companies, I don't know, people said, you don't need pensions anymore. People should be able to invest their own money. We're going to have companies set up these 401ks, and you can direct your own investments. You can decide how much you're going to put in there, and this is much better. And you can borrow against it, all kinds of wonderful things. The problem is that if people did invest in it, and some people did and were great, but a lot of people invested in it and then borrowed against it. So then they took the money out, or they withdrew it early because they needed it for something, and then it's accessible, unlike a pension. We're comparing this to a pension that a company provides. So that was an issue. And then also on top of that, people just chose not to put money into their 401k.
I'm financially immature, and I'm like, I want all my money. I don't want to give any of it to anybody unless I have to. So if you're not forcing me to, it's not happening. Yeah. Until then you get to be 45 years old and you're like, I guess I'm working until I'm 83.
Because the 401k, I had money in a 401k, but then I needed it. And because I was able to use it, I did use it. And a pension, you wouldn't be able to do that with.
You can't do that, no. I will say, my parents did it right. They worked for the government.
Yes.
They got their pensions.
Yes.
And they're very comfortable.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. And there's so many of us. I mean, this is not just a few people. It's not just me and Kelly.
No, there's a lot of us. Yeah.
There's not just Kelly and I sitting there going, oh, well, we're the only ones. No, there's a whole lot of us, and a whole lot of us coming up, even people born quite a bit after us. What are they going to do? Are you going to rely on Social Security?
I already looked at what my payout's going to be, and that's not going to be enough to do a whole lot with.
No.
So definitely need a plan. And, we run into people all the time that are like, well, I can't afford, I just talked to somebody the other day, and it's a family member, and he owns a home over in Inglewood. So took a lot of damage during the storm. He didn't believe in, nor could he afford homeowners insurance because he is living solely on Social Security, and homeowners for his home would be like $10,000 a year. He's like, that's more than half of my annual, what I bring in, and I have to eat.
Yeah.
So like what, that's all he's got though.
Yeah.
So
what's going to happen? We are going to work until we
die.
Kick off. Let's see. What should people do to not be struggling at the time that would traditionally be retirement age? Kelly, what are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously not what I've been doing.
Yes.
I feel like you got to save. There's, I'm sure, a certain percentage. Should you talk to a financial advisor? I've thought about that, but my experience, and this is no hit on anybody who actually does this as a profession, but my experience with financial advisors is that they're just trying to sell me life insurance. And that's not why I'm here. I need somebody to tell me, like, look at my money, how much I'm bringing in, look at my tax situation, look at our debts and say, okay, you can't afford to just put this, like, treat it like a bill. I need somebody to like basically be the boss of me and say, you have to do this much so that you'll have X amount when you're done, or invest it this way. And I have a couple clients who are really savvy with the stock market and I listen to them and I'll ask them questions. So I feel like sometimes I hear it, but I'm not like, I need somebody to like kind of strong arm me into doing the things.
My CPA has been very aggressive with me. Like, you must do this. You must do this every month. This is what it needs to go into, and you have to do it. But again, started too late. I mean, there is something called compounding interest. Start early.
Yes, that's like, the teaching our kids stuff, like you're young. I know my daughter, she's telling her boyfriend, because he has a job where he can, contribute to a 401k. And she's like, you need to put as much of it towards that as you can. Like all of it that you can put towards your student loans, do that and get them knocked out, because those are very small. She's like, just pay those things off and then direct all the rest to a 401k. Because what do you need all that money for? He was like, well, I need shoes and stuff. He's got some shoes though.
And the thing is that at least put in what they're matching. Like if there's a matching, if they're matching 3% or 6%, whatever they're matching, put in the matching. Sure. Yeah. What What do you think about real estate? Real estate, is it a
I
good
think real estate's a
investment?
great investment
do.
for retirement for sure. Like
Yeah.
that kind of is my plan. Like I know the value of my home as long as we're maintaining it and doing the things we need to be doing, shouldn't go backwards. So it's going to be paid off, and then I could sell it if I needed to then say, okay, I have all this money that I can then put into a retirement
And move to
situation.
some little country.
Go move to Costa Rica or
Costa Rica,
Colombia or I
yes.
don't know, somewhere where everything's cheap.
Where the cost of living is left. Where did Ben move to? What was that? No, Nicaragua. No,
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
where did he move? He moved somewhere.
Yeah.
Not this Ben, a different Ben. Okay.
Now, is a pension plan dead? So I feel like there are a few professions where they still have pension plans, and I run into people occasionally that still have pensions.
Yeah.
But it's not widespread like it used to be.
I think
you
it's
know?
really, really rare.
It is very rare. You're lucky if you have a job where you have a pension for sure.
Yeah. Government jobs mainly.
Yeah, like teachers, unions. I feel like there's
Florida Power and Light, when my first job out of college, my first real job was Florida Power and Light, and they had very good pension plan. But I think you had to stay there longer than I stayed there.
Well, yeah, likely so. Yeah. It would be nice because I think that with those, you're not contributing from your paycheck.
No.
It's all employer contributed. So that would be nice. Well, we're self-employed though, so what do? We are our
We worked till our
employers.
83. You already said.
We just
You've already called it.
Yes, for sure. We're going to work forever.
Or
We
we're
love
gonna
our
go live-
jobs. It's a good
Yes.
thing, you know.
We're
It's a
going to go
good
live
thing.
in, we're going to sell our houses and go live in a little beachside town, some other country.
Maybe we'll just see people getting like shared housings, roommates again, like the Golden
Yes.
Girls.
The Golden Girls.
Girls did this.
Yes.
It was probably because they were on fixed incomes. They needed the money,
No
and they were
doubt.
living in a high cost area of Miami.
They were.
You know?
Yep, that's very, very true. What about Social Security? We got to talk about Social Security.
Yeah. It's not much. You
It's
can
not
look
much.
up what your Social Security payout
Look
is.
it up.
Yeah, and see what you're projected to get at your age of retirement, and if you were to, go a little early or wait a little longer to get it, it's a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
It's a helpful tool. There's also people like Tommy will have his VA because he's got a disabled status with the VA, so you can kind of add that in and collect both at a certain age. But it's very confusing to me. And then, the whole other topic of like the healthcare stuff, like once you hit a certain age, I'm so confused.
Medicare.
Part A, Part B.
Opt out. Isn't there an opt out now?
Maybe.
That's the same experiment as the 401k,
really
by the way.
is.
I think you're supposed to opt out of Medicare. We don't know enough about it yet, but I did read that you should not opt out of Medicare.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Well, it's kind of like, they force you to have, health insurance.
Yeah.
Like all these things you have to submit that you were covered or you take a hit on your taxes unless you're at a certain income level or whatever.
Yes.
So you're forced to that. Why are we not forced to like put money somewhere so that we're not relying on the government?
Because they're trying to trust us
Yeah.
to make
don't
good
trust
decisions.
Me. Don't trust me to make a good financial decision. It's not happening.
All right.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
Don't let
that's
my
it.
husband watch this one. He thinks I've got it all down.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.